So welcome everyone. I think I should start the session now. So thank you all for joining this workshop on SQL. I will take you through all the basics of SQL and hopefully by the end of this session you will be able to answer some interview related questions or you will be able to use SQL in your projects. And I actually feel that SQL is one of the easiest tools to learn. Uh, it could be used in data analytics as well. It is more closer to the English language than any programming language like C++ or Python that you might have learned. So if you want to get into analytics, then SQL is a very good starting point. It is very simple. And in the next 90 minutes, I'm going to show you exactly how it is that simple and how you will be able to like write basic queries and deal with tables and extract information and make decisions based on those information in based on that information as well. So let us begin the session. So this is the basic outline of the presentation that I'm going to give you. I'm first going to give you the introduction and I'm going to tell you about data. I'm going to tell you about database, basically what SQL is, what MySQL is. Then we are going to write some basic SQL commands. Then we are going to deal with multiple tables. That is where SQL comes in, and you will be able to see most of the uh, tools that we can use. Then we are going to write some subqueries as well, and then we will move on to some interview related questions. So this is the basic workshop outline. So when we think about data, I think we all know what data is. It could be numbers, it could be characters, it could be dates. The reason why data analytics is flourishing right now and it will always continue to boom is because the data collection process never stops. Like if you open a bank account, if you buy a car, they will ask you to fill up some details, right? So you will enter those details, and those details the company is going to save in their databases. So for example, you are using Swiggy, right? So you have logged into their app, you have given them your name, you have given them your address, your phone number, you have given them so many things, right? So they will store that data in their database, and they can interpret various things from that data. Like for example, there is a city, take Bangalore, okay? So in Bangalore, there would be localities where the Swiggy is more popular. There might be localities where the orders are not coming that much. So the company might analyze why are the people buying food from only certain areas and why they are not buying food from other areas. They are not ordering food from other areas. So there is a lot of opportunity, right? If there is a vacancy, if there is a locality where not many people are buying, so the company might penetrate into those localities. They might examine how they can flourish in the market using those localities. So basically, wherever there is data, there will be databases that will store your data, and it is very important to analyze the data. But the first thing is asking the right questions, like how to filter that data. So that's where databases come in. So these companies store data in their databases. These databases contain multiple tables. So data needs to be stored and accessed. Database is just a repository of data. You can add, modify, or query data from this database. So the company created a database. They can access the database. They can filter data from this database, and they can also modify the data from the database, and they can filter the data according to their needs, and then they can make business decisions based on that data. So what is database management system? So initially data was stored in text files, and that was known as file management system. You might have seen some crime thriller movies where the protagonist is trying to like catch the murderer. So they are sitting in the rooms, they are seeing various files, like 10, 20 files. They are trying to link the files, right? So that they can find a common link between murders, so that they can catch the criminal. So that was a very tedious process and manual process. The person has to literally see 20, 30 files, and then only they can make some conclusions. So that was very tiresome. And with the advent of modern technology and database management systems to be specific, the data can be accessed more easily now than ever. Like if you have a database and if you know SQL, you can literally filter out thousands of rows and you can specify a particular filter and get a particular amount of rows. For example, only 5 rows. And those 5 rows are only relevant to your project or to the thing that you are finding. So it is very important to ask the right questions and to retrieve the right data. So database management system is a program for storing and retrieving data. Relational databases means that they can establish a relation between the tables inside the database. So there will be a database, there will be probably multiple tables inside the database, and there is a link between those tables. For example, there is a table called NITW table, and like if there is an NITW database, and inside that NITW database there might be like 2-3 tables. There might be a table of student, there might be a table of library. So what so those, the student table and the library table, those are linked. How are they linked? In the student table there might be a column name ID, there might be a column name, there might be a column name such as roll number, address, something like that. In the library database there might be a column name library ID, there might be a column name ID as well, there might be name, there might be the amount due, there might be number of books. So those two tables are linked by what thing? ID is the common link in both the tables. ID is present in both the library table and in the student table. So we can form a link between those tables, and in that way we can create like even 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 20 tables inside a database, and there could be a link in those tables. So in that way data is usually stored. So one second, let me turn on my camera. Okay, so pardon my appearance, like I just woke up at 10 a.m. I think that most of you also woke up late only. So let us dive into what is MySQL, what is Oracle database, what is Microsoft SQL, and how they are like different. So if we go to the database management system, like we just explored this, so next slide. So what is SQL and what is MySQL? SQL is a programming language used to store, retrieve, and manipulate data. MySQL uses this SQL programming language to query a database. So SQL is a programming language, and MySQL is a relational database management system. It is a program that uses this SQL to query a database. So what is the difference between MySQL, Oracle database, and Microsoft SQL? The difference is very minimal because all of these relational database management systems use SQL to query the data. The differences are very minimal. The differences could be some minor changes in some of the syntax, but mostly all the syntaxes are very similar, and you will be able to filter data or get access to that data in all of these three, MySQL, Oracle, and Microsoft SQL, in a similar way. Most of the syntaxes are same. So we know what SQL is. It is a programming language. We know what MySQL is. It is a relational database that uses SQL. Now we will move on to describing the entire process. So you are the user. You are going to interact with the relational database management system. Using this, you are going to write SQL programming languages. You are going to write SQL codes. You are going to write SQL commands, and then you are going to access this database. You are going to modify this database. You can also delete some rows in this database. You can query some certain rows from these databases, and then you can make informed decisions based on the query or based on how you modify this database. So let us start with the first command. So I will first tell you, like, for those who have installed MySQL, just click here, MySQL. You will get this MySQL workbench. Just click this MySQL workbench and just wait. Okay, so you will get this screen which will show like welcome to MySQL workbench. Then you have to connect to the server, SQL server. So just click on this. So when you downloaded this MySQL Workbench, then you might have created a password. You just have to enter that password. So enter that password, click OK, and you will get this screen. So MySQL Workbench is like nothing but it is a very good user interface to interact with MySQL. So MySQL Workbench is basically a very good user interface to react with to access the relational database MySQL. And here we are going to write the queries. So like in this PPT, the create statement is used to create the database, and we can also create a table. So first of all, we need to create a database. Inside this database, we are going to create various tables. But first thing is creating a database. So what is the syntax for creating a database? It is create database and just write database name. So I'm going to write here create database, and the name I'm going to give it NITW. Okay. Don't worry about cases. SQL is not case sensitive. You can write it in any cases. It won't matter. So after writing create database NITW, this is our first statement. Then I'm going to execute this. For executing, just select this and just click on this electric type of thing that shows execute the selected portion of script or everything if there is no selection. So just click on this. You will get a tick sign here that will show that a database is created. How to check if this database is created? Just click on this refresh. There is a refresh here. Just click on this. You will notice a NITW is added here. Just double click this. Okay. After double clicking, you will see there are tables, there are views. So don't worry about that. Just know that you have created a database NITW. Okay. So now you have created a database. Now we are going to create a table. So what is the syntax for creating a table? So create database name. Similarly, create a table, create table you write, then you write table name, and you'll open curly brackets. Then you are going to specify the column 1 name, the data type of this column 1, and some constraint that you want the rows to have in this column. For example, I have mentioned here create table student. So the name of the table is student, and I've mentioned the first column as ID, student ID as ID. I mentioned it is int type. Then I have also mentioned not null. The second column I want is name. The third column I want is gender. So in the name I have mentioned varchar, which means variable characters, which means that we can have variable strings here, and again not null. Gender, marks, state, and friend ID also I have mentioned here. So we will get into this later. So some of the data types that you should know is character, char, varchar, integer, and float. These four are like very important. The difference between char and varchar, I hope you all know. The difference is that in char, you can only specify a particular length of string. For example, if you are writing a column as gender, and in the gender you want to identify male as only M and female as only F. So there is only M, F, and then like MF. So here you can use char because it is like fixed. It is only one character. For example, but in names like what you once again in names you should use varchar. Why you should use varchar? Because not every name has the same length of the string. Like my name is Shwetang, someone's name might be Ritika. So Ritika is a smaller name, so we will use varchar there. And integer type you must know. Float type is just decimal. So these are some of the important data types. Remember I mentioned some constraints here. One of the constraints is not null. There might be other constraints as well. One of them is like unique. It ensures that all values in a column are different. Not null means columns cannot have null value. So these two are like very basic. One important constraint is the primary key constraint. So it is a combination of not null and unique. A combination of not null and unique. It uniquely identifies each row in a table. So the primary key will be very unique and it cannot have a null value as well. So if I'm giving you a table and I'm giving you a primary, if you have the primary key, then you can access one row from that table successfully. So like here, I mentioned like the column name, I mentioned data type, I have mentioned the constraint as well. Till that I have mentioned like 6 columns, and in the end, I'm identifying which column is my primary key. So I have identified primary key, curly brackets, as ID. So ID is my primary key. This ID if I have, then I can access names, gender, marks, state, and friend ID as well. So that is about the constraints. So till now, what we have done is that we have only created a table. Now we are going to insert values into this table. So for that, we are going to use the insert into statement. So like we are going to write insert into table name values. Don't worry, we are going to write all this in here as well. I just want to give you some introduction about just insert into statement so that we can create a table and insert values. So insert into statement is used to insert new records in a table. So write insert into the table name. What is the table name? Student. Then write values. Then just open brackets and just write those values. Like ID was, this is ID, this is name, this is gender, this is marks, this is state, and this is friend ID. So like that, we have entered all this and like we have executed. So to save time, what I have done is that I've already created, no, it is not supposed to be in capitals. As I said that SQL is not case sensitive, it could be small as well. So I've already created a table student here. I'm just going to copy this and I'm going to, let me first give you all in the chat as well so that you can all. So I have pasted this in the chat. Just copy this and paste it here. Okay. So I have created a database. I've created a table student. So I've already executed this database. Make sure this is like double clicked and in bold. Then just select this and click on execute. It is showing a tick mark, create table student. So it means that it has been created. How to check the table has been created? Just click on this refresh. So a student table has appeared. But till now I have executed only this command. I haven't inserted any values. So I have already told you the syntax to insert the values. So I'm just going to insert the values. I've already inputted values. So I'm just going to select this again. And I'm going to execute this. So I will wait for you all to execute these two commands. I've already messaged it in the chat box. So just copy that and just paste it here. First we created a database and then we executed this. Then we executed this. And then I click this and then I click here, selected all this, and then I executed this. So I hope that some of you might have executed it till now. So we have filled up the table. How to check how this table has been filled? So for that, so has everyone finished this? Can I get some response in the chat box for those who have successfully executed all this? Okay, cool. So the next thing that we are going to do, so if you are getting an error, just make sure that you have like first created this database and you should double click this. Okay, this must come in bold. Then if you create the table and then if you insert values, then it will come. If you have not selected this in bold, you might get some error. Otherwise, if you have copy pasted correctly, you should be able to proceed. So the next part that we are going to head into is the select statement. So using the select statement, okay, some of you want it again. I'll just paste it again. Okay, I pasted it again. So now we will move on to the select statement. So how to check that if we have updated a table correctly or filled the values correctly? We'll just write select star from table name. So I'm just going to write here select star from, what is the table name? The table name is student. And I'm going to execute this. So I got like these 6 rows. I got the name. So I got the gender as well. I got the marks. I got the state. I also got the friend ID. So the select statement is used to select a particular portion from the table. for example, if you want only name and if you want only marks, then write select name, comma, marks from student. Now if I execute this, then I will get name and marks of the only I'll get the name and marks. I won't get all the columns. But if you want all the columns, use this star operation. So we have used the select statement as well. The next thing we have to do is that, for example, we can use this update statement if we have made some error in the name. For example, here, let us say that the name was not Raj, it was actually Raju. Okay, so what we are going to do, actually it is lagging a bit, I think, from my end, so I better switch off my video, I think. Yeah, it is lagging a lot. So wait a second. Okay, now it should work much faster. So is my screen visible? So till now I have just used the select statement. Next I have moved on to the update statement. So update table name. So update student I can fill here. Set column 1 is equal to particular value, and then I'll write a where condition. So say that you want to update a name. You inputted Raj, but it was actually Raju. So what you are going to do is that you are going to write here, you could write update student, then you're going to write set, then you're going to write the column name. So I want to update the column name, right? So name equal to Raju. Okay. So, and I'm going to specify which ID it was. So it was where ID is equal to 1, because Raj's ID is 1 and I want to update it, right? If I just write Raju and update, it will like update all the names. I just want for the ID 1 set name as Raju. So if I execute this, I should write a semicolon as well. So it has updated Raju. How to check it has updated Raju? Again, just process this. Now you can see that the name is now Raju. So like that you can update. You can also delete as well. For the delete, you can also delete a record as well. But like I'm very satisfied with the records I have. I don't want to delete any record. So I won't execute here. Just look at the syntax, like delete from table, where you can write ID is equal to 1. If you write delete from student where ID is equal to 1, what it will do? It will delete this first ID row completely. Okay. So I don't want to delete it, so I won't execute it. So I'm just going to move on. The next thing is, okay, they are telling me to slow down. So just let me know if you are able to select it or not. Has everyone like created a table? Has everyone done this part right? Has everyone created a table? Has everyone inserted it, the values correctly? Has everyone selected it? If you're not able to follow or do it, just follow me. Later on, you can do it. Okay. So you have updated this as well. I didn't want to delete anything, so I didn't use this delete, but I have also said how to delete it. The next thing is like alter. Alter statement is used to add, delete, or modify columns in a table. For example, like here, can you tell me in this create table, is there something here that is not very ideal? Can you identify something? ID is int, okay. Name is varchar 10 only. Gender is like character 1 is fine. Marks is also integer 0 to 100. State is okay 50. What is one thing that you could change or it is better to change? I think that it should be like name, because 10 is too less. If I exceed the name by like 11, then it won't get inputted. So like I made a mistake here. So what should I do? Should I just execute it again? I will get an error here. Why will I get an error? Because the student table already exists. It will try to execute everything again. So in these situations, you should use an alter statement. Alter statement is used to modify only one column. it will leave everything else and you don't have to execute all this again. So alter statement, what is the syntax? Alter statement is used to add a column. It is also used to drop a column, means delete a column. It is also used to modify the column data type. So in this case, what I want to do, I want to just modify this data type, right? I want to like increase from 10 to 20. If I increase from 10 to 20, then it would be better. For example, someone's name is very large, then I can enter it again as well. So I can use the alter statement to change the data type. So I will just write alter table. What is the table name here? It is student. Modify column, column name, and then data type. So like I'll try and execute this. I'll write here alter table. What is the table name? It is student. I'll write modify. I'm just following the syntax. Modify, what I want to modify, the name column, right? So I'll write name. I'll write the new data type. I want varchar only, but I want 20. I don't want 10. Okay. And I'll also specify not null. And I'll execute this. So the tick sign shows that it has been correctly executed, and I can input now the names of more than 10 characters also. So that is about the alter statement. You can add columns as well, drop columns. Here I just modify the columns. So what is truncate and what is drop? So truncate statement deletes complete rows from the table. Say that you want to start the table fresh. You want to delete all these insert statements. You want to delete all these. Okay? And you want to input it again. You made some error. So you can use the truncate statement, but be sure that all the values will be like deleted. All the values will be deleted. You have to input every value again. So truncate statement is used to delete complete rows from the table. The difference between truncate and drop. Drop also states that it deletes the table. So bhaiya, what is the difference between like the truncate and drop? If you drop, you have to execute the create command also. You have to execute this also. If you drop the table, you have to execute this also. You have to create the table again. But if you use truncate, you don't have to do this. You just have to insert values. So the difference between truncate and drop is that if you drop the table, you will drop the entire table. You have to write the create statement also again. Whereas if you truncate the table, the create statement, you don't have to write. You just have to write this one, insert values. So that is about truncate and drop. The next thing that I want you to notice is there are two types of languages. One is data definition language and one is data manipulation language. We have discussed truncate, drop, alter, update, delete. Can you tell me which is data manipulation language and which is data definition language? So data definition language defines the database schemas or database types. It basically defines the columns. Data manipulation language is used to manipulate the rows. So when I use an alter statement, I'm dealing with columns, right? I'm either adding column, I'm either modifying columns. So this is a data definition language. I'm defining the column, I'm giving structure to my data. Whereas if you go to update or delete statements, these two are just used to manipulate the data. If I named it Raju and I want to change it to, I named it Raj and I want to change it to Raju. It is a manipulation language. It is not a definition language because it applies to a row value. Whereas like alter statement, it is used to modify columns or add columns, something like that. So you should know the difference between data definition language and data manipulation language. Create is also data definition. Why? Because you are giving your database a structure. You are changing the columns. Okay. So that is the difference between those two. So till now what we have done, I am just going to summarize. I just created an NITW database and then I created a student table. And in that table, I inserted certain values. I initially wrote the value as Raj. I changed this to Raju. I changed the name data type as well to increase it from 10 to 20 characters so that if I want a 7th entry as well and the name is like very long, I can insert it. So basically, I just created this table. Now I'm going to play around this table. Till now, we have done like the laborious part. Now it is like much more fun. We have this table and then now we are going to play around this table. So just notice some things in this table: the gender, the marks, the state, and the friend ID, which means that if there is Raju here and the friend ID is 3, then his friend is Karan. Okay, so like that I have identified. So now we are going to delve into questions, some common questions that you might have. You have to filter data based on conditions. You can query the top 4-5 rows. You can count the total number of rows that specify a certain condition. For example, you want from this data set number of students who are from Bihar. So this is very simple. You can just see it is 2. But let's say there are thousands of rows, okay? And you want only the number of students from Bihar. How are you going to get that? Are you going to count each thing? Are you going to do something? In SQL, it is just a simple line. And I'll show you how later. These are just certain questions that might come across, and using SQL queries, we are going to answer all these questions in just 2 to 3 lines. Suppose you want to summarize the rows that have same values. For example, number of students from a particular state. I just mentioned. So that is 2, right? You want to find average marks of only students from Bihar. That is also a valid question. If you want to find average marks only from the student of Bihar, you just have to 84 plus 55 divided by 2. But if there are thousands of rows and there are like 15 students from Bihar, then it is very cumbersome if you try to do it using Excel and something like that. In SQL, you can do it very directly as well. And like it is not related to any programming language. It is very simple. So you will get that as well. So one important statement that is important is the distinct statement. Let us say I want to query the marks. So I'll write here select marks from student. And then I'll run it. Oh no, the spelling is wrong. And then I'll run this. I got the marks. But 2 people have 84. Okay. I just want distinct marks. So I'll just write here distinct. If I write here distinct and then if I execute, I'll get 84, 77, 55, 92. The 84 came twice, right? Now it is coming only once. So the distinct statement is used to only give us distinct marks. This is very useful if you want to find the second highest or third highest marks. That is very common in interview questions. So the distinct statement helps us to get only distinct values. The where clause is used to add a condition. I'll just show you the application directly. If you read the syntax, you'll get bored. So say that you want select marks where marks is greater than 80. And if I execute this, wait a second. It's a very simple command. It shouldn't be like error.
Remove the semicolon.
What?
Semicolon after student.
Remove the semicolon.
1 second. Just a sec.
After the student, there is a semicolon.
Okay. Yeah. Stupid mistake. Yeah. Now it will execute. So not only marks, if you want name as well, just write your name. That was so stupid of you. But these errors occur, right? And you should be able to identify them and make them correct. So if you select name and marks from student where marks is greater than 80, you will get a list of students whose marks is greater than 80. If you want only distinct marks, you should write like distinct marks. Just remove this. Select distinct marks from students greater than 80. If you execute this, you will get 84, 92, 88. These are distinct marks. So like that, you can combine various statements as well. So this is your where commands. There are other operators. There are equal to operators, greater than, less than, greater than, equal to, something like that. So this is basically the where. Now this is very important, the like operator. Okay, so suppose you want, so just suppose you want here, you want the names of the people who have the letter I. Names of the people who have the letter I. So I'm going to select name from student. I'm also going to write the where clause, but instead of writing like equal to or something like that, I'm going to write name. I'm not going to write equal to or something like that. I'm going to write like. So what does like do? Where suppose customer name like. If I write the letter A and follow it by percentage, it will find any values that start with letter A. If I write percentage first and then write a letter, then it will find any value that ends with letter A. if I write percentage on both sides and if I include something in between, it will find any values that have or in any position. So right now what I want is that the names of the students who have the letter I in it. So I'm going to write with name, like what I'm going to write, percentage I percentage. Okay, and I'm going to execute this. Okay, this is here I mentioned dollar, not percentage. So I got the name of students where there is some I in it. Everyone has some I. For example, I want the name of students whose name ends with I. So I'll just remove this first percentage. Sorry. I'm going to remove the second one. So I want I here. Okay. And then if I execute this, only one person's name ends with I. So I just wrote where the column name and I use the like operator. I didn't use equal to something like that. I'll just use the like operator. So that is about likes operators. So in where you can have multiple things, like you can write where marks between 80 and 90. You can write where column marks in, and you can specify particular values. For example, if I want to check if a student has exactly 84 marks, what I'm going to write? 84 or 86 marks. So I'm going to write where column name in 84, 86. For example, if I write this statement where in, I'm using the in operator in, and then I'm going to I also have to specify the marks, right? Where marks in, here I'm going to write 84 some random 99. Okay, and if I execute this, it is going to show me everyone who has marks of either 84 or 99. It is better to add here marks as well, so you can see marks as well. Now if I execute, so these both have 84 marks, and no one in the list has marks 99 or 84. Only these two have exactly 84, so it is showing that. So INT operator is used in that. Between operator, I already said. If you want marks between 80 and 90, just write where marks between 80 and 90. You can use like multiple as well. For example, if you want marks greater than 90 or marks less than 70, you can write something like that as well. For example, here you want marks greater than 90 or marks less than 80, let's say 80. And then if I execute this, so here I'll get the name and the list of students who got marks greater than 90 or less than 80. I didn't get those who got between 80 and 90. So that is one. The next is not. For example, if you want where not marks is equal to 80, so it will show all the results where marks is not equal to 80. So that is about not. These are just like basic. You can practice it on your own as well. Is null, is not null. You will get the values where it is null. For example, select marks from table name where marks is null. So here, tell me, let me again execute this basic statement. So tell me, are there any null values here? There are no null values here, which is consistent with this. When we specified the table name, we said it should be not null, and hence we specified every value here. So if we write like is null, we'll get like no values, and is not null, we'll get the entire table basically. So that is null and not null. So the next thing that we are going to discuss is the limit. This limit is actually very important. For example, I only want the fourth row, or I only want rows from 4 to 7. So what I'm going to do? I'm going to write select. One second. I'm going to write select some star from student. Remember what this star do? The star just returns us all the column names. I can write name, comma, marks, something like that, but this will return all the column names. Star from student, not where clause. Just write simple limit 0, 4. If I execute this, I will get from first to fourth. if I set an offset of 1, I will get from 2 to 5. Okay, so this first thing is used to create an offset. If I use offset as 2, what I'll get? I'll get 4 rows, but it will start from the third. Okay, so say I want only the third row. What should I write? I should write as 2, offset I created 2, but here I should write only 1, right? This will give me the third row. If I mention offset as 0, it will just give me the first row. So like that you can use the like operator. So you can write a where statement as well. For example, if you use like 0, 5 I mentioned, you'll get the top 5 rows. 1, 5 you get from the second to till the 6th row. So if I tell you to get I give you a question where I ask you to get the third and fourth row of a table. This is the table. I'm asking you only to get the third and fourth row. I only want Karan and Rajiv. So what are you going to do here? You are going to write, what are you going to write? Just think about it a second. You are going to use the limit operation. So what are you going to write here? You are going to write limit. What is the offset that you want to put? You want the third row, right? So you should put offset as 2. This is, and how many records you want? You want to find, you want to have the third and fourth row. So again, I only want 2 records. So I'll just execute this. I got the third and fourth row. So that is how you can use the limit statement. Later we'll combine the limit statement to like find the second highest marks or third highest marks, something like that. So the next one is minimum, maximum, count, average, sum. So these are like very similar operators, and these are like used to just summarize something. For example, you want to find the maximum marks. You are just going to write here select max marks from student. Okay, and I'm going to execute it. Okay, so we executed. What is the max marks? It is 92. Okay, suppose I am asking you, we know this table, right? Just look at this table. What if I ask you, what is the maximum marks of a student from the state of Bihar? So what are you going to write here? What are you going to add here? For example, for maximum marks of everyone, I just wrote select max marks from student. Now I want to write maximum marks of Bihar only. So what I'm going to do here?
State is equal to Bihar.
Yeah, you have to use where state equal to Bihar. Makes sense, right? Maximum marks from student where state is equal to Bihar. If I execute it now, I'm still getting 92. Wait a second. Again, like same mistake I'm repeating. Again, I wrote semicolon here. See, so now if I execute, I'm getting 84. Want to verify this? Just check here. Raju is from Bihar, he got 84. Rajiv is also from Bihar, but he got 55. So I'm getting marks as 84, which is the highest marks of a student from Bihar. Like this, you can combine the various statements as well. You must have the idea to check it. The reason why I'm selecting this only, I'm keep on selecting this statement, is because I don't want to run all the statements again. It might show some error if I have used some complex things here, or I use some aliases. So that is why I'm just selecting what I want to run, and then I'm clicking on this side. Okay. So that is about maximum marks. Similarly, you can use minimum marks, you can use average as well, you can use sum as well, you can use count as well. So count is like, for example, if I give you a question to find number of students from Bihar, what are you going to write? Select, count, just write anything in count. I'll explain you why you can write anything count. From student where state is equal to Bihar. And if I execute this, I'm going to get 2. Number of students from Bihar is 2. The reason why I'm using this as star is because the count just counts the number of rows that satisfies the condition. So if I count name, it will also give me 2 only because the number of names is also 2. So if I use just star, name, anything, it will give me count as 2. So it won't matter. But maximum, you have to specify as marks because you are finding just maximum marks. But count, you can specify any column name. So the next thing is order by and group by. So till now we are only discussing random, like we are just, if you look at this, we are just discussing everything like the table that we got. But suppose we want to arrange the table in descending order of marks. So what are we going to write? Select star from student, order by marks. If we write this, we'll get the ascending order. If you want descending order, just write DESC. And now if you execute, you will get descending order. Now, if you want to find second highest marks, what are you going to write? Limit. What should I, if I want to get the highest marks, I write 0, 1. That will give me the highest marks. I'll remove the semicolon here. And if I execute this is the highest marks. Okay, Ritika got the highest marks. If I want the second highest marks, I'll just set the offset as 1. Got second my highest marks. If I want the third highest marks, I'm just going to click the offset as 2. Okay, so this is the third highest marks. Okay, so like that you can find the nth highest marks very easily. Now you might have a question. If I want the fourth highest marks, there is a problem. Why there is a problem? It is also showing me 84. Why? Because it is the third record, but we want only distinct values. Just if I execute only this statement, select statement, just remember, if I use like, just want to remind what the table look like, select star from student. This is a very important interview question. That is why I'm taking so long. It will come 100%, I'm saying. Like if you see here, 84 is repeated twice. So when I'm finding the third highest marks, and when I'm finding the third highest marks and fourth highest marks, I'm getting like both 84. But I want 77 as my fourth highest marks. These are the same, right? So both these are the third highest marks. So what should I do here? I should use the distinct statement somewhere, right? The distinct statements should come somewhere. That is how you must think. If you think like that, then you will be able to solve many questions. So if I write here, select distinct marks from student, order by marks descending, and then if I write limit 2, 1 for finding the third highest marks, I'm getting 84. But if I change the offset to 3, will I still get 84? I won't get 84 because I use the distinct. If I remove the distinct and if I then execute this, I'll get 84. So the distinct clause is very important if you want to find the nth highest marks. And I want to point out something, like if you are using some online compiler or something like that, then the limit statement that you are using here, it is for only MySQL. For other databases like Oracle database, there is some other syntax, and like it is you can use that syntax to find, but the limit statement is only used for MySQL. That is why I recommended to download MySQL here. So that is about order by. The next is group by. These two are very important. That is why I'm spending more time here. The next is group by. Suppose you want to find the average marks of students from Bihar. Average marks of students from Bihar. Okay. Or something like, let me give you another better example. Suppose you want to, basically the group by statement, what it does is that it is used to summarize values. For example, the group by statement groups rows that have the same values into summary rows. Like find the number of students in each state. I am telling you a question. Find the number of students from each state. So select star from student if we do, just to see the table again. I am asking you to find the number of students from each state. Then how you should proceed? right? Select count, right? I want number of students, star, comma, state from student. If I use group by state, if I use group by state, okay, and I use select count star from state, star state, and then if I execute this, what will I get? I got the count and I got the state. If there are like 10 people from Delhi in the table, you'll get 10 here. I got 2 people from Bihar because I put 2. So the group by clause is used to like summarize values. Okay. So you will get the state and you'll get the count from various states. So it is used to summarize. So you can like summarize average, you can get the maximum value as well. You can get count as we discussed here using the group by clause. It is used to basically summarize. So let me tell you about this one having, and then we'll move into multiple tables. So this is the last one in the single table one. So the having clause was added to SQL because where keyword cannot be used with aggregate functions. For example, if I ask you name the states along with name the states that have average marks greater than 90, okay, or greater than 80. So if I write here where, so let us first find the average marks. So just mention here like average marks. So like that I use count and I can specify any column. For average I have to specify marks. So what I am doing here, I am finding average marks of students from each state. So the average marks from Bihar is 69.5, from Delhi it is 84, from UP it is 77. So I got the average marks. Suppose I want the states whose average marks is greater than 80 to compare the states. So can I write here where AVG marks is greater than 80? Will this execute? That is my question. It won't execute. Why it won't execute? Because it is not applicable with the where clause. Here you have to use the having clause. The having clause was added to SQL because the where keyword cannot be used with aggregate functions. Average, maximum, minimum, those are aggregate functions. So the where clause cannot be used there. Also, you might have noticed the having clause is often used by the group by clause, because if you use group by, then you will be able to find average marks from each state, something like that. That is why we use group by age. So if I replace this where with having, and then if I execute, see, now I am getting the states whose average marks is greater than 80. So it makes sense, right? So that is about having, and with that we have concluded about like one table. Now I want to like upload another table. Just remove this. Remember, whatever you have created here, it is stored here. So these are the statements you are writing. If you have executed a statement, it will get stored here. The rest of the statements are just like query statements. You are just extracting information. Now I've created another table, a library table, and try creating this one. This is a fresh start. For those who were not able to create the first table, see if you can create this table. So if I write everything here, we already know how to create a table. We also know how to insert values in it. So I'm just going to run. I will explain you about the foreign key and primary key of the second table. I will explain you about the foreign key. This is a very important concept and it is used to basically link the tables. Just first execute this so that we can get the table. And I just execute it. So tick mark shows that it has been executed. And I write insert into, we just insert the values. So the values are also inserted. So what I have done right now, I just created another table called library, okay, where I have included library ID, the ID. This ID is the same ID that I used in the previous table. So can you tell me what is the link? The link. Achha, okay, I'll just copy paste it. Sorry. So I just copy pasted it. If you want, you can just insert this and you can write some queries from this as well. Otherwise, just try to follow me and later you can try this. I'll just give you a real life example as well later, so you can try from that. So here I created a table. I also inserted values into this table. I was about to explain the foreign key aspect. Okay. So what is in this table? First, let's see. It is the library ID. It is the ID. It is the number of books. It is the type of books. It is the amount due and the branch that the student is from. One important thing here is that the primary key I have again included as library ID. Not again, this time I have included library ID, but the primary key concept you already know. What is this foreign key concept? This foreign key concept is very important because it helps to maintain the consistency. Foreign key ID references student ID. Basically what this means is that everything that I include here, 1, 2, 5, 6, the ID should remain consistent with what I used in the student ID. Like I cannot include an ID of 7 here. It must be consistent. So I can include like 1, 2, 5 and 6. Everything should be within what I constructed the initial table. So if you focus on this, I have the initial table of student where I mentioned ID. Library also has an ID. This ID should follow the rules of this one. I cannot have ID 7 here. If I include ID 7 here, then only I can include ID 7 here. I have IDs from 1 to 6, so whatever I fill in this table, it should contain students from IDs 1 to 6. So this is very important in maintaining the consistency between tables. So if I have a database with like 10 tables, I have one main table which contains all the IDs, and then I have links between these two tables. What is the link between these two tables? It is ID. The rest of the columns are different, but the one common link is the ID. So using this ID, I can combine these two tables. So if you look at the schema diagram, in this schema diagram, like student is one table, it has these columns. The primary ID, remember we established it as student. Now we established ID here as a foreign key. So you might have seen, so this foreign key attaches itself to this primary key. And this is all the primary key of the library ID, but this we didn't connect. We connected this ID to this ID. So this helps to maintain the consistency. That is why when I created this table, I mentioned foreign key references student ID. So this is how we create a relation between the tables so that the data remains consistent. So now that we have created two tables, now we can join these tables in very interesting ways. So now we are going to move into like joins. So querying data from multiple tables, how can you do that? So simple things. Okay. So if I write select, what was the name of the first table? Student. So I'll write student dot name. What does student dot name does? The student table name I specified and then the column name I specified, comma. Now I want the branch as well. So I'll just write here comma library, the second table name dot branch. Okay. Makes sense till now? Okay. Then I write from. So from I have to write both table names. So I'll just write student comma library. Okay. But like there is nothing that we can execute here. Like the data is also not same. There are only 4 rows here. So what I'm going to write is I'm going to use the where clause where student dot id is equal to library dot id. Is it making sense right now? I'm just asking a simple question. Is it making sense? I just wrote student dot id is equal to student.id is equal to library.id. And then if I execute this, I'm getting this. So even though the branch was there in the second table only, it was not there in the first table. It was there in the second table. But because of this ID link, I was able to join these two tables and I was able to get the branch of some of these students that was mentioned in this library table. So I got this name and this branch. So basically I joined these two tables. Okay. Now we are going to learn some basic syntax of joining tables. So basically inner join is just the intersection between these two tables. So tell me what is the intersection between library and student? Obviously it is only ID 1, 2, 5 and 6. 1, 2, 5 and 6. The 3 and 4 are not intersecting, right? It is separate. It is only in the student. But what is intersecting? Only 4 rows are intersecting. So if we want to if you want to join two tables and the intersections, then we are going to use the inner join. So what is the syntax of inner join? Just select some star, some column name, just select the column names from table 1, inner join table 2 on. I'll just execute it. You'll get an idea of how to do this. So I'm just going to write here, select, same thing I'm going to execute, data executed here, same thing I'm going to execute. I'll just mention the word inner join. So I'm just going to write here, select names, comma branch, from student, inner join, library. This is the left table, this is the right table. Left table, right table. Okay. On where here I use where, I'm going to use on here. On student.id is equal to library.id, and then I'm going to execute. There is some error here. Let me just check. Names, comma branch from student.
Names, that's names. You have written names.
Okay, yeah, correct. Yeah. Now there is no difference between this and this. But suppose we want all the columns from this first one and also the intersection ones. Okay, so I'm going to use a left join here. Okay, so I already mentioned this is the left table, this is the right table. When you use the syntax, this is the left table, this is the right table. If I write here inner, except inner, if I write here left, and then if I execute, I'll get something like this. The information is not there for branch, but it will still join and it will show null value. What was the left table? The left table is the student table, left table, right table. So if I execute the syntax using the left join, I will get all the values from the left table, and if there are some intersections, I will get the second one as well. Means I got the branch as well. Okay. If I execute the right join, this is very interesting. If I execute the right join, then what I'll get? I am getting only intersections. Can you tell me why I am getting only intersections? The reason why I'm only getting the intersections, because this is blank. Everything is intersecting. Everything from table 2 is intersecting, and there is nothing in table 2 that is not intersecting, right? So I'm getting a blank here. So this is the same as inner join. If I had here an ID of 8, if I had here 8 as well, then I might get some additional columns with null values. But since everything is intersecting from the library table, if I also use right join, I'll get this. The next is the full outer join. So full outer join basically combines table 1 and table 2 and those intersection values. So just a simple question. Okay, I'll go a bit slow. So I hope you understood basic join, the inner join based on the intersection. The left join includes everything from the left table plus the intersection points. For example, we have the branch data of only 4 rows, so we got only 4 branches and the rest 2 showed null values. When we use the right join, we notice that everything from the table 2 intersects with table 1. There is nothing here that doesn't intersect, but we can't have library ID and exactly Vaishnavi, that is the point here. So now you can understand why it is important to maintain the consistency. If I didn't include the foreign key here, okay, here if I deleted this, okay, and then I started it all over again, then I can have 8, 9, 10 as well, okay. But since I included foreign key here, so basically everything will come in the intersection only. So that is important. So yeah, I'm glad some of you are following. If you are not following as well, don't worry about it. These concepts are very simple. I'm going to share the PPT. I'm also going to share everything that I executed here. I will note it down and share it after, and then you can practice it. So the full outer join combines both these tables and the intersection. So tell me, is the full outer join giving me the same values as the left join? Is the full outer join giving me the same selections as the left join? It must, right? Because there is nothing here that doesn't intersect. Everything intersects. So it will give me the same. The problem here I am mentioning that the full auto join is not in MySQL. Okay. So you can execute it in like Oracle or something like that. Yeah, if there is no foreign key, you can still join the various tables. Okay. But it is always better to have foreign key. If there is you can practice. I'm telling you can practice. You can remove that foreign key and then you can execute everything. You can still join even if there is no foreign key. You can do these joins. Okay. So just follow this syntax. So we don't have, I was mentioning, we don't
Sir,
have, yeah.
yeah, like what is the difference between the first syntax and the syntax using join?
Okay.
The
So the
previous
first,
one. Yeah.
okay, in this one and the
No,
first
no,
thing
not
that,
this one. No,
okay.
like yes, yes, this one and the first one
There
without
is no
using that
difference.
join.
Yeah, there is no difference. The inner join is same as if I do this statement. Okay. The inner join is same as if I do this statement. Okay.
Okay.
Understood? You caught
Yes.
on that, right? If I use this
Yes,
statement,
sir.
it also inner join only. Okay. So there is no difference in that. I just explained this to show you how to join basic tables. Then I use the syntax of inner join because it is simple. So full outer join is not there in MySQL. So is there a way to do a full outer join? Yes, using union. So union operator used to combine result of two or more select statements. So select column names from table 1, union select column names from table 2. So are you getting an idea? If I use left join, union, right join, left join, union, right join, will I get full outer join? I will get full outer join, and you might have a question like this intersection part is repeating, right? If there is left join here and if it is a right join here, the intersection part will repeat. But the beauty of union operator is it doesn't accept duplicate values. It will give us non-duplicate values. Union selects only distinct values. If you want duplicate values as well, use union all to select duplicate values. So here I'm going to do something very fun. You will enjoy it. So select name branch from student. I use right join, right? I'm just going to copy this. I'm again going to paste this. I'm going to remove the semicolon here. Here I'm going to use left join. I'm going to write just left join. So I have the right join, I have the left join. In between, I'm going to write union. Okay. And I'm going to execute all this. So this is the full outer join that I'm getting, which is the same as the left join. Because repeatedly I'm mentioning everything in table 2 intersects with table 1. So the full outer join is same as the left join. Okay.
Sir,
So yeah.
like I have a doubt in let's say let's take a case wherein table 1 contains students participating in particular contest and table 2 contains students participating in another particular contest. Like in this case we may have left join and outer join different from each other, right?
Yeah. We may
So
have.
in that case we'll not be having left join and outer join equal.
No, we won't be having equal. Exactly.
Yes.
That is the point
Okay.
I'm making. Yeah.
Okay. Like in that case, outer zone and left zone will be different, right? May not,
Yeah.
they may
Yeah.
not be. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That is my point. Full auto
Yes, yes,
join. It is not a rule that full auto join is same as left join. Don't
yes,
get that mistake.
yes,
So that is very important point. I'm glad some of you are understanding. So that is about the union. So the next thing is aliases. So this is a very interesting concept where I will be introducing self-join as well, and you might confuse like what is Bhaiya teaching, it is like impossible. So, but don't worry about that. Aliases are nothing but you are giving the name a temporary name. For example, if I write here, wait a second. Where is that? Yeah. It's like what happened here? Yeah. Okay. So if I write here, select something like yeah. So first of all, I want you to focus on this statement. Forget everything else. Remember, we used this statement to join. Okay. So now what I want is that I want to self-join. I'll just use this example. It would be much better. So just a self-join is when a table is joined with itself. It doesn't need two tables. You are joining first table with itself. So like what is this? So here I mentioned ID. I also mentioned friend ID, right? So Raju has a friend ID of 3, which means that Karan is his friend. Nikita has a friend ID of 5, which means that Ritika is Nikita's friend. Suppose I want a table like this. Okay. Suppose I want a table like this from only one table. Till now, whatever joins we did, we used two tables. Now I'm using only one table and I'm joining this table with itself. Just that I'm using this name column twice. Here also I'm using name. Here also I'm using name. Friend name I'm using, but it is the name only. I want this. I want this current guy to come here. I want this Ritika to come near Nikita. I want Rajiv to come near Hari because those two are friends. So how I am going to do this? Using self join, I'm going to do this. So the syntax for self join is because we are using the same table, but we have to name the table as two tables. So I'm going to select table alias 1 dot column name, table alias 2 dot column name from like it is better to execute. I'll write it here. Okay. So just say if it is making sense. If you are not understanding, I will try it again. If I'm using select s1 dot name comma s2 dot name from student as s1 comma student as s2. Now just focus on this. Okay, the same table student one I named s1 as an alias. I'm using the as statement as an alias. So the student as s1 means I've created say something like a temporary table s1, and then I'm using the same table student as s2. So s1 is same as s2, but these are two separate tables. Those are identical, but I just created like two same tables basically. Okay. So if I use something like s1 dot name comma s2 dot name from, suppose I write this, tell me if it is making sense or not, where s1 dot id is equal to s2 dot friend id. Tell me if it is making sense or not. What will this execute? Okay, what will it? Just focus on this where statement. S1
Is
dot
the
id.
table you have shown below that will output that table? Yeah, that
Just
name
focus.
and friend.
Yeah, exactly. Why? Because this ID I'm equating to this friend ID. So
Friend ID.
whatever,
Yes.
yeah. So whatever if I do, so this one, where what is the
Sir,
important concept here? I'm just using student as two aliases. S1 is one alias, S2 is another alias. I'm using S1 dot name and S2 dot name such that S1 dot ID is equal to S2 dot friend ID. So it will check, and if I execute this, I will get this table. Someone was saying something?
sir.
Hmm.
Sir, the Nitika and Raju are repeated twice. No, so is there any
Yeah.
distinct kind of thing so that it will not repeat again? Only once it
Yeah,
will
yeah,
appear.
yeah. Yeah, that is a very good question. Suppose one thing I can do here. Okay, so the one problem here is that everything is repeating twice. Actually, it is not that simple. Let me think of a way. If it is simple, I'll come up with it now. Otherwise, we'll proceed and we can discuss it. You can WhatsApp me later. 1 second. Let me just see. because everything is unique here in the sense that if you combine these two columns, every record is unique. Like Rajiv Hari and Hari Rajiv you can say it is same. There must be a syntax where you will get only like three rows, but that syntax must be a little bit complicated. Or if someone has an idea, you can come with now. But just focus on this part. I'll answer those doubts later. Okay, because that might be a complicated syntax. Okay, or it might be long. But try to understand the point here about the self join part. Okay, why we are doing self joins? How we can use one table into two parts. So the next question is subquery. This is the last part. Don't worry. The workshop is about to end, and then I'll just answer some interesting questions. Subquery is like one of the most important things, I think. So it is a query within another query. Okay. Suppose I am going to ask you, find the name of students who got marks more than the average marks. Okay. Who got marks more than the average marks. So if you want the average marks, you are going to select AVG marks from student. Okay. And if I execute this, the average marks is 80. I want people who have marks greater than average marks. Okay. So what I'm going to write, can I write this? Select name, comma marks from student where marks is greater than, select average marks from student. So what are subqueries? It is query within a query. This will execute first. So what will we get from this? We'll get 80. So we'll get 80 and we'll get the select name and marks of students whose marks are greater than 80. If I execute this, I'll get the name of students who got marks greater than average marks. I didn't calculate average marks. I just included it in the subquery. So I selected name and marks from student where marks is greater than the average marks. And this average marks, how I found using a subquery. So this is how you can use subqueries. So now I'm going to ask you a question. So if you want to find out the name of students who got maximum marks in ECE, maximum marks in ECE department. The twist here is that the marks data is in student table, but the branch data is in library table. So how are you going to find the maximum marks of name of student who got maximum marks in the ECE department? Right now you can check like ID 5 and 6 is ECE. So 5 and 6 is Ritika and Hari. So Ritika got 92. You must get answer as Ritika 92. How you will get this 92? That I'm going to show you now. If you want to deal with two tables, how you are going to do it, I'm going to show it now. So again, I'm repeating the question. Maximum marks, who got the maximum marks from the ECE department? The problem is that there are two tables. So how are we going to do this? So just follow the syntax here. Then I'm going to explain what I wrote. Okay. So if I write here, select same name, comma marks from student where marks is equal to, I'm going to write a subquery, select max marks from student where, again I'm writing another subquery. First I have to specify the column name where ID in, I'm going to explain this, don't worry. Select ID from library where branch is equal to EC. So don't get overwhelmed. It is actually very simple. So first of all, just look at the last query. What is this? Select ID from library where branch is ECE. So what will it give? It will give me ID as 5 and 6, correct? ID as 5 and 6. Why I didn't use equal to here? Because I am getting two values here. That is why I'm using the in operation. I already mentioned the in operation here. Okay, so I'm using the in operation. I'm getting two IDs here whose branch is EC from the library table. Okay, so also sorry, I didn't mention ID, right? Where ID in, I'm getting two IDs. So this is the condition. I'm going to select maximum marks from student where ID is equal to either 5 or 6. So I'm going to get the maximum marks, and then I'm finally equating it with marks. So if I execute this everything, there is some error here. One second.
You forgot the semicolon at the end.
Oh no, I don't think semicolon. The advantage of using MySQL Workbench is that semicolon usually doesn't matter. The mistake must be somewhere else.
Bracket.
One more bracket at the end.
Bracket, common bracket.
Yeah. Correct. There must be one more bracket because I used two subqueries, right? One for this bracket and then one for this bracket. Now if I execute, now it is executing. It is showing Ritika 92. If I want chemical, I just write here CHE. The rest of the code remains the same because the library thing is coming here only. Rest is only student thing. So if I use chemical, I'm getting 2. Why I'm getting 2? Because both of them got maximum marks. So this is very useful, right? This is a foolproof syntax basically. 2 people got maximum marks and those people are tied. So I'm getting 2 values. So there is no error there. Okay. So the last thing I want to say is here is that suppose I want to store data as in form of a table. So suppose I wrote this like this, right? This friend one I wrote, right? So now I'm just writing here create view some temporary table as. I think this is the syntax. A view is a virtual table based on a result set of a SQL statement. So you got a SQL statement here. What the table you got, you want to store it as another table. So just write create view, just write that table name you want to store as and just write as. So if I execute this everything, okay, some error is showing. One second. Is there a problem in the syntax? Create view name as. Okay, this is executing.
Sir, is it not like this? You just created the table.
I should use brackets, I think. Maybe brackets, yeah. Now if I execute, will it get executed? Still it is not getting executed. Wait a second. Should I remove this semicolon? Now is it executing? Still it's not executing. One second. Duplicate name it is showing. One second. Let me try to apply this in some simple one. Maybe there is some error here. Yeah, let me write here. If this is also showing error, there must be an error in syntax. It is not showing an error here. So I just created a temporary table as the select statement what I got. I just created it in temporary. So if I write select star from temp table, what will I get? I got this. Okay, so I just created a temporary table. If I only execute this part, I will get the same thing. But I created view temporary table. So I selected from temporary. This is very useful if you want to like again query from your selected table. So this is, I think this concludes the workshop. Now interview preparation. Okay, now I'm just going to ask you some questions to tell me how to execute. Okay. Suppose I'm asking you the first question. It is a very common question. Almost in every interview you will get this question, any SQL interview. How to find the second highest marks? So first of all, see second highest marks from this table. I will tell you what table it is. Select star from student. Same table. So this is the table. I'm asking you how to find the second highest marks from this table. What are you going to do? Think about it. There is no one answer. There could be multiple answers.
Sir, we can use limit.
Yeah, you can use limit. The limit could come here. That is one way. And
We can
with
use
limit,
order.
yeah, limit,
Order,
order. Both
right,
limit and order you can use. Correct.
Yes.
You can use a subquery as well. There are multiple ways of doing this. First, I'm going to show you how to do it with subquery. Then I'm going to show you how to do it with limit. So first, I'm going to show you how to do it with subquery. So like select name, comma, marks from student, where marks, I want the second highest marks, right? So I'm going to write here maximum marks. Don't worry about this. If I execute only this, what I'll get? I get maximum marks, but I want second highest. So what I'll write in the where statement? I'll write marks less than. Now think what I'm including here. I'm just going to include here. Again, I'm going to write select max marks from student. So first, this query will get executed. Okay. So this will give me 92. Then this where statement comes, which will give me results with marks less than 92. And then maximum marks will be dependent on this where clause. So now if I execute this, I'll get 88. So this is the second highest marks. But now you might have a common question. But yeah, what about like fourth highest marks, fifth highest marks? Am I going to keep writing subqueries? So here your method comes in, where we are going to use, like you said, we are going to use the limit, we are going to use the order by, and we have to use one more. What might be that one more? If I ask you from this table, find out the third highest or fourth highest. If I use only order by and limit, I might get an error, because the highest marks is 92. The second highest
Distinct
marks
also. We have to use the distinct also.
exactly. So the highest marks is 92. The second highest is 88. The third highest is 84. The fourth highest is not 84. We want it as 77. So the distinct operator must also come somewhere, right? So you have to think like that. You have to think there must be order by, there must be limit, there must be distinct. So now how I'm going to write it? So just focus on this. I'm going to write select distinct marks from student, order by marks. I'm going to write descending as well, because if I don't write descending, the default is always ascending. So I'm going to write order by marks, descending, limit. If I want the highest marks, I'll write limit as 0, 1. If I want the second highest marks, I should set offset as 1, right? So I want to find the second highest marks. So I'll set the offset as 1. This is the second highest marks. If I want the third highest marks, I'm going to set the offset as 2. If I want to find out the fourth highest marks, set the offset as 3. And you are getting 77. You are not getting 84. If I remove this distinct thing, and then if I execute, I'm getting 84 here, which is the fourth highest. Third highest also 84. So we have to write here distinct marks. And then if we execute, we'll get this as 84. But if we want to find the fourth highest, we'll get the right value as 77. So this is used to find the nth highest marks. So basically the formula is what? N minus 1. If you want to find the highest marks, then include 1 here, you'll get 0 here. If you want to find the second highest marks, include 2 here, you'll get 1 here. So this is the basic syntax for finding the nth highest marks. If you look at some of the other questions, SQL as the type of book. Now don't get afraid. What operator is used when there is some pattern or string? Remember the like operator. Just write like, where like, let me execute this if you want. So just recall what it said, the original table said. select star from student, just to look at the data again. Okay, so this data didn't get that. I think it's in the library table that I include. Select star from library. I think 90 minutes are already up. So here there are type of books. So for example, you want to select ID which has books of SQL type. So what I'm going to write here, select star ID from library where type books like, I'm going to use the like, not equal to operator or greater, I'm using like operator, like percentage SQL percentage. And if I execute this, I'm getting two IDs, which is consistent with this. Sorry, yeah, one second. Select star just to. Okay. So ID 1 and 5 we got, right? So both of them has SQL. So for example, there is a job description column. And in that job description column, there are like in one row only, there are like 200 words. Just filter out like which of these job descriptions contain the word SQL, and you'll get the idea that okay, this job requires SQL, this job doesn't require SQL. So in large databases, you can do this. So this you can highest marks from respective branches. This all you can practice on your own. Now, till now, what we have dealt with are like the table I created, right? But if you go to a company, they will already give you a table. So how to import a table here? Just right here, I will create a new database. Chicago is a like city in US. Create database. Sorry. Okay, I'm going to refresh. I created the Chicago database. So I'm just going to double click here. And I want that already table. I already have a table in Excel sheet. How to upload this table here? Just right click on this table, right click on this table. Click on data, table data import wizard. Okay, table data import wizard. Browse, locate your data. I already have this census data. Open. Next, give a name to the table. I'm going to write census table. Next, you can you have so many columns. You can identify the type of column you want. I just want default, so I'll just go next, next, again next, finish. Now if I refresh this, I have a table here, census table. Just write select star from census and execute. See, this table contains not like 1 to 5 values, it contains like 77 values. And see the type of data it contains. So many data it contains. Suppose we want per capita income greater than 20,000 or like 50,000, better. Where per capita, I'm just summarizing this, the workshop is almost over. Income. This is just a real life table, right? So I'm just giving you an example. Is greater than 50,000. Okay. Everything is right. No, don't here includes. Yeah. Now, if you check the per capita income, it will show only those columns which have per capita income. So that like that you can do various queries. So right now we select only one table. To select more tables, just repeat the process. Right click, table data import wizard. Click next. Sorry. I wanted to include different table, right? So right click here, table data import wizard, browse again, this time select crime. So crime data I want. Right here, crime. Next, same thing. Next, finish. Now if you refresh, you'll get two tables. If you examine those two tables, you will again get a common ID. For example, if I didn't explore this table, but you will get a common column name in both these tables. For example, community area name you'll get here also, and in the crime table also. And on basis of that, I've created some questions here that you can solve tomorrow, day after tomorrow, anything like that. So this is just an example, and I will finish this workshop now. I won't take much of your time. I will share you all these 3 tables. Just try to practice using these tables and using these questions. And yeah, so for resources, I use like YouTube, Google. W3 School is very nice to just see all the statements. And if you want to practice, you can always use HackerRank or Kaggle. For projects, you could use like Coursera guided projects. Just take a data set, right? Take any data set and just write SQL queries and try to make like some informative decisions from it. So yeah, that is about MySQL workshop. So I think I should stop the recording now.